10 News begins with breaking news.
Another sign of tension escalating in the Middle East after several rockets were fired at Baghdad's international airport, killing several people. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. This latest round of violence comes after Iran-backed protesters surrounded the American embassy in Baghdad, shouting "Death to America." 10 News reporter Adam Rakusin is in the live center. And Adam, the rockets are believed to have targeted the military airport's runway.
Yeah, Iraqi security officials are reporting tonight that those rockets hit the airport's cargo hull. I want to show you, see, there's some of the first images that are coming in from the scene right now. It looks like a car that's in flames. This image is posted to Twitter. Also, what we believe to be a freelance journalist posted this video to Twitter. As I expand on it a little bit, you can see some of the fires from where we believe those rockets hit and crashed down, burning those vehicles. According to the Associated Press, 4 people were killed. The attack comes just days after protesters stormed the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. Protesters pushed their way into the compound, setting fires and breaking windows. Now, Marines, including some based here in San Diego, were sent to Baghdad to protect the U.S. Embassy. The Baghdad airport is used by both U.S. officials as well as for commercial operations. Right now, it's unknown who fired the rockets or who was targeted by the rockets. We'll keep an eye on this breaking news story. Guys?
Because when something like that happens, something inside of you dies, and you don't get it back.
Dozens of people are suing the Catholic Church, claiming they were sexually abused by priests.
As our 10 News reporter Adam Rakusin explains, this new wave of lawsuits comes one day after a new state law went into effect. We do want to warn you, some of the details you're about to hear, they are disturbing.
His eyes would get glassy, his face would get red, and he'd get close to you. And he just instill fear. You're a kid.
Standing behind a podium, Edward Ortega used those words to describe the look Father Gregory Sheridan would give him before allegedly luring him into what he described as an abusive trap.
The molestations were brutal. They were violent. Everything you could possibly think of a rape happened to me by this man.
Ortega says he was sexually abused about 60 years ago. He would have been around 11 years old at the time and a student at a local Catholic school.
He would pretend as if he were your friend, and then he would go to work.
Ortega is one of 4 men who today revealed their identity, coming forward to claim they were sexually abused by priests in San Diego County when they were kids.
This is only the beginning.
Attorney Erwin Zonkin says his firm filed 6 lawsuits on behalf of 20 alleged victims of clergy sexual abuse within the Diocese of San Diego. The lawsuits are now possible because of a new law that expands the statute of limitations for victims of childhood sexual assault.
Now they have a chance to be heard and to hold this diocese accountable.
The Diocese of San Diego tells 10 News 5 of the 6 men mentioned in today's news conference are known sexual predators, and all of the men are dead. The diocese can't comment on specifics involving the lawsuits, but in a statement, a spokesperson wrote in part, "Regardless of the legal issues involved, we have a moral obligation to provide assistance to any victim survivor of that abuse." Ortega says he'd like for there to be closure, but
Closure doesn't take away the scars and the wounds that we carry.
Adam Rakusin, Team 10.
These 6 lawsuits you heard about are just the beginning for the Catholic Church. One law firm says it is going to be filing more than 100 in the coming months. All right, turning now to the weather, a surfer's paradise with big swells all along the coast. Look at that high surf advisory. It is in place from the North County all the way to the border.
Our 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz is live in Ocean Beach, where those waves actually shut down the pier. Jen.
That's right, Lindsay and Steve. The pier is still shut down tonight. Actually shut down 3 different times in December rather. But even with the pier shut down, there's so many other things to do to enjoy our beautiful coastline, just like a couple people out here enjoying a really nice sunset in Ocean Beach. The swells off San Diego's coastlines churned up big waves on Thursday.
For me, it's actually pretty nerve-wracking. Hoping I don't get sucked out all the way out there, yeah.
For this group of skim and boogie boarders, the high surf was quite a challenge.
Sometimes it can be really scary if it's a bigger wave than you've ever boogie boarded, but sometimes it can be really fun, yeah.
They hit the beach in La Jolla, but made sure not to head out too far.
It's not something I get to do every day, though, so it's an experience. I actually really like the crashing part about it, like just it gets your blood flowing, and sometimes it can get scary, but I think that's the best part about it.
For more experienced surfers, it's the perfect time to head out.
I go to Ocean Beach, I go to Scripps Pier a lot, Blacks, Torrey Pines.
But you still have to be careful.
So there comes like a point in time though when the waves just get too big and you're almost out there shaking a little bit. So I'd say like 5-6 feet is the maximum, but if it gets anything higher like this, it's just not safe for anyone, even if they've been surfing for a while.
For this trio of surfers north of Wind and Sea, the waves were too big to even catch. A few miles south in Ocean Beach, the high surf closed down the iconic pier.
It's closed. We can't go on.
The pier was closed for months last January after strong storms caused major damage. The city spent more than $300,000 fixing the railing, electric, water, and sewer lines.
I think it's actually the best built pier we have in San Diego.
Closed at the pier, but still wide open at our beaches. City officials will be out here tomorrow morning to determine whether or not to open the pier for the weekend. Reporting live in Ocean Beach, Jennifer Dela Cruz, 10 News.
And it looks beautiful out there. Our meteorologist Angelica Campos looking great also in Del Mar. The waves peaked this afternoon. They will decrease tomorrow, but our high surf continues. Look at that, just a picture perfect sunset once again. Waves averaging between 3 and 6 feet. High tide for tomorrow. It'll be in the afternoon at 4 p.m. and some of the sets could be once again averaging up to 7 or 8 feet. So it should be a little bit lower for tomorrow, and that lowering process will continue into the weekend. Meanwhile, cases of the flu are still rising in the county and have claimed the lives of 2 more San Diegans. 2 men in their mid to late 70s died of the flu last week. They both had underlying medical conditions. County Health says this brings the total number of flu deaths in the county to 10. That's compared to 9 the same time last year. Over 3,800 cases have been reported this year. That's up from over 1,700 last year.
There are new developments in a fraud lawsuit against the owners and operators of a San Diego-based porn site. Today, a judge ruled 22 women won nearly $13 million.
10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner is joining us. And Jen, the women claimed they were lied to about how the videos would be distributed.
Lindsay, that's right. They were told these videos would be for private clients in other countries, and they were only going on DVDs, but that was not the case. Let's go to our video. Images like this have been at the center of this 4-month-long trial, with a ruling finally handed down this afternoon. A San Diego judge's nearly 200-page decision came out. He ruled in favor of the 22 women who sued the owners and operators of GirlsDoPorn.com, finding that the defendants lied to the women and claiming that these explicit videos would not be uploaded to the internet. Defendants Michael Pratt, actor Andre Garcia, videographer Matthew Wolf, and assistant Valerie Moser were found to have misrepresented claims that the videos would not be on the web. But once they were uploaded, the defendants reportedly ignored their request to take them down. Less than an hour ago, we sat down with the women's attorneys who say these women have been severely impacted.
This case has been very emotional for me. This result is a vindication of a lot of 22 brave young women who fought harassment, who fought intimidation, who hung in with us and let us get their story out.
And we also contacted the defense attorney for comment tonight. We are waiting for a reply. We're live downtown tonight. Jennifer Kastner, 10 News.
The undocumented mother of a U.S. Army officer has been deported to Tijuana today. The family of Rocio Gomez say they have spent years trying to fix her immigration status. They spent the day pleading in front of the federal building downtown, hoping that the government would intervene and overturn the decision. Her son, Gilbram Cruz, joined and re-enlisted in the military in hopes of helping his mother's situation. He says his mom doesn't have any family in Tijuana and is afraid she will become a target.
It's annoying. She's got family over here. She was gonna get extorted for money, abducted. It happened to one of our uncles. We never even got his body back.
Gilbram cannot visit his mother due to military restrictions. He is reporting for duty back in Texas with a heavy heart.
Traffic was slow on the 805 this afternoon after 2 cars crashed, bringing down a street light as well. This happened just after 2 p.m. Both of those cars were exiting towards Mira Mesa Boulevard when they collided. The BMW rolled and hit the street light, causing it to crash across 2 lanes. The other car spun out. It hit a guardrail. No one was hurt, luckily. The Good Samaritan stopped and said she had to help a man from that red car. The crash is still being investigated. And another crash left a car teetering on the guardrail over the eastbound 94. The incident happened just before 10 o'clock this morning. A big rig and a car collided on the westbound 94 near the 15, pushing that car up onto the guardrail. Firefighters had to carefully help the driver out of the car. Both drivers were taken to the hospital with just minor injuries. The cause is also under investigation.
Your voice, your vote. Nonpartisan voters need a request a crossover ballot by January 6th. That is, if they want to vote in the March presidential primary. This is according to the Registrar of Voters Office. No party preference voters can vote for Democratic, American Independent, and Libertarian Party primaries if they request a crossover ballot by January 6th. Republican, Green, and Peace and Freedom Party primaries are only open to voters registered with those parties. Postcards have been sent to nonpartisan voters that they can fill out to receive the crossover ballot. You can also go to the sdvote.com to request that ballot. And Julian Castro has dropped out of the 2020 Democratic race for the White House.
He was the only Latino candidate in the Democratic Party, but as ABC's Serena Marshall shows us, he lagged behind other candidates in the polls and campaign funds.
With a month to go until the Iowa caucus, the Democratic presidential field shrunk again.
Given the circumstances of this campaign season, I've determined that it simply isn't our time.
In a video release, the former Obama housing secretary Julian Castro dropping out of the 2020 race, Castro failing to garner enough support in the polls or raise enough money to make recent Democratic debates. One of those near the top of the polls is Senator Bernie Sanders. His campaign announced a massive $34.5 million fundraising haul, one of the biggest quarterly campaign amounts by any presidential campaign.
So our job together is to create an economy that works for all.
Other frontrunners also putting out their fundraising totals. Pete Buttigieg, whose tenure as mayor of South Bend, Indiana, ended yesterday, raised $24.7 million. Former Vice President Joe Biden with his best quarter to date, bringing in $22.7 million. And Senator Elizabeth Warren announced last week that she had raised at least $17 million towards her $20 million goal for the last quarter.
We know how to make government work for the people.
Warren campaigned today in New Hampshire, but other Democrats descending on Iowa.
We have to put a candidate at the top of the ticket with a proven record of bringing people with her.
Senator Klobuchar is one of 5 candidates with one eye on the campaign trail and another on Washington. The timing of the Senate impeachment trial expected to force them back to Capitol Hill to serve as jurors, as well as Biden, who could be called as a witness if President Trump gets his way.
It's about the American people, what they want in a president.
13 of the remaining 14 Democrats running for president filed with the Nevada Democratic Party for that state's February caucus. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg failed to file by the January 1st deadline. His campaign putting all their hopes on Super Tuesday. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.